Okay, down to me. Okay, I'm sorry that I did not update you during the week. I was let out Tuesday evening. And I would kept telling my son to please for me put something up for me to let you guys know, give you an update. And he was like, he suffers from bipolar, and he said he couldn't do it. So I got out Tuesday night, and I I thought that I did an update video. I started one, and I just realized like last night, yesterday, that I didn't. So I apologize for that. Basically, that rash that I had on my underbelly, on my penis, um, was just the pain. You could feel the pain throbbing from the inside, and it was driving me insane. It was happening throughout the whole day, and I was having to take painkillers, and I don't like taking painkillers at night, just to sleep. And my husband was like, "You are going to die if you don't go to the hospital." I'm like, "You're an exaggerator. You know how it's gonna be, blah blah blah." I'm not familiar with the area, so he just put in, hos he just went on the internet and put in, hospitals in Houston, because a lot of times these hospitals are very specific. The Children's Hospital, the Cancer Hospital, the Women's Hospital, and we didn't know what was what, and so he just picked the first thing we saw, which was a University General. It was 2 blocks, right here, 2 blocks away. So basically, he wanted to take me that night. He was furious that I wouldn't go, and I made a deal with him that let's just try and get a good night's sleep, and then you can go. You can you've had a good night's sleep. You we'll check things out in the morning, or you can check things out in the morning, and I'll go with you. You know how I feel about going to the emergency rooms. You come home with a $10,000 bill, and all they did was hand you painkillers, antibiotics, and send you home to go to your doctor. So I go to the hospital, and I tell them that, I have this horrible rash that won't go away. It's extremely painful. I've had it for 2 months. So they asked me if I had insurance, and I said no. I said I don't have insurance twice. So they let me in. And I found it strange that the emergency room only had, it was a tiny little room with 4 chairs. And I'm like, this is weird. Maybe it's just that it's a Sunday morning. And so they let me in, and they said the doctor, they had to call the doctor to come. So the doctor came, and he, whatever, he came like 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, and he looked at me. I told him the situation. He saw how huge my belly was. And he said, "This isn't right," which is what I kept saying. He says, "You look like you have some sort of massive growth in there," which is what I've been saying. That's not normal. The skin was gray, and he was like, I was afraid of this too. He was afraid that I had gangrene when he checked the rash, as I call it. And they still, some medication they gave me was for a rash, but he said that it was an infection inside of my penis. My legs were infected. My penis was infected, and that's why it was coming out with those blisters. He checked my heart. He said that my right side had a mild heart failure. He checked my blood. He said and they checked my blood pressure, and he said I had type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure. I just, and they always tell me you're going to be dead in 5 years, you're going to be dead in 10 years. And I've changed my diet a lot, like 20 years ago. And at one point I eliminated a lot of sugar. I was exercising every day. I lost a lot of weight. So I figured as long as I'm not frying foods, I haven't fried foods in 30 years, as long as I'm not frying foods, and I try to keep my sugar intake down, and, that I'm not, gobbling down sweets every day, which I don't. I usually like buy one goodie a week. I thought I'd be okay. And, I did feel tired all the time, but I thought it was because I don't sleep well, my back, blah, blah, blah. He said I had an infection, and he said that if I came in with any one of those things alone, they would have sent me home. But since I had like 5 things wrong, he called out, I don't know who, the head doctor or whatever, and convinced him that if I didn't get let into the hospital and get help, I'm going to die. And he said to me, your body is breaking down until you die. And if you do not get some sort of help, like he said, Medicaid. We were talking about Medicaid. He said they have emergency Medicaid, which is what I have been looking into. But you have to go to the hospital before they would even consider you. So I said, okay, so that was the plan. I never heard of this in my life. I went to the bathroom, and the lady at the reception, who looked like she was a biatch, walks over to my husband and says, that'll be $175. And my husband's like, what? So he's like trying to play it off, well, I don't have cash. Well, we take credit cards. I don't understand him. He knows I don't want to go to the emergency room because we don't have money. And he got nervous and he was taken aback and whipped out the credit card. And so I'm in the bathroom. You know, I noticed she didn't do that while I was there. She did it while I went to the bathroom. The doctor was on the phone. So my husband was like, you know, I'm sorry, I've said this sometimes, men have brain damage. So he whips out the credit. I'm coming back and I noticed that he was signing something. And I was like, what are you signing? I'm the one who's being admitted, not you. I don't like when you put your signature to stuff. This is on me. And he said, oh, that was the receipt, $175. I'm like, what? I was like, you just heard me talking to the doctor. We're going to apply for emergency Medicaid. They would have paid that. That's number one. Number 2 is, where does this lady get off asking you for the money? We're in the emergency room. Where did that come from? I was so out of it that when I saw that lady, I wanted to just jump on her, yell and scream and jump on her. But I was just like, I was just too like messed up. I just was like looking at her like, and she knew it. So she came, and then she came to me because I had to sign something else because the doctor convinced the hospital to admit me. And, you know, I just signed it, and then she says, I want my pen. I like shoved it to her, like, what the heck do I want your pen for, you know? She's like, I need my pen. What do I need her pen for? I was just so mad. So I said, that's all right, you know, I'm just going to go home probably, you know, later on tonight, and I'll just, you know, call the hospital administration. So basically, I went in the morning. I was there Sunday. I was admitted at noon. And the doctors had just left for the day. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? I said, well, you know, so basically I'm just supposed to sit there and wait till the next day. What the heck? But they said that they needed to treat me for my problems. I needed, because my legs is what they call it cellulitis. My legs were retaining water. That's weird. The muscle was tight like this. It was red. The skin was dry. My ankles were swollen. So I was like, that's weird. So I had the infection in my pannus. I had like 5 things. I had mild heart failure on the right side, diabetes, high blood pressure, cellulitis, and they said it was like an infection in my leg. I had the infection in the pannus, which was coming out into this rash. They they gave me 100. They gave me 1,000 milligrams of antibiotics in an IV to help get rid of that infection, and it was working. I had never felt better in my life. It was taking away the infection. I was starting to form new blisters, and I wasn't in pain anymore or nothing. They were taking my blood pressure. They gave me some blood pressure pills, some pills to help bring down my sugar level or whatever, because I really don't understand diabetes. So basically that's all they did. And meanwhile, I'm waiting for the doctor all day so that he can assess me. Oh, and then they lie. They're like, oh, he'll probably come. And I was like, I don't, it's being dragged out. So they do this, right? And then I told my husband, you have to go to work. I don't want you to stay with me. He doesn't have like any days off here. I mean, this job is really taking its toll on him. And I said, you go home and bring me, Stephanie. That's the one with the disabilities. And I was like, let her come and let her spend the night with me, because I really didn't want to be alone. And honestly, those hospitals are not comfortable. If they had a recline, some hospitals have really comfortable recliners. Their recliner was old and didn't work right, and it was very uncomfortable. That first night, I had the nurses coming in every hour on the hour, checking my blood pressure, checking my diabetes, checking, changing the antibiotics. I would get it every 12 hours, so they would get me the antibiotics, and I was hooked up to a machine, and if I moved the wrong way, the machine would beep, say, because I wasn't, it would stop the drip. And they can't find my vein, so they had to stick me in my hand. I don't know if you can see. I've had a problem with finding my vein for a very long time. So, it's uncomfortable. I'm trying to sleep. I told my daughter, you take the bed, because I can't sleep on the bed. I took the recliner. It wasn't working right. But basically, every time I would just start nodding off, they would come in. And this was like every hour to 2 hours. This was going on all night till the morning. They weighed me. The first day I was there, they did not weigh me. That Sunday morning, I asked if I could weigh myself. I was 408 pounds. The next day, they weighed me. I was 400 pounds. So they were giving me stuff to release water out of my body. So I was in the bathroom every 5 minutes. I mean, oh my goodness. I'm like, and you're supposed to be getting rest in a hospital. So I was very frustrated. The nurse comes in. Oh, then they told me some specialist was going to come and look at my belly. And then the next day they said, that's not even in my charts. I'm like, what are you talking about? They were telling me all day, a specialist is going to come in tomorrow to see you. In fact, by the evening, I was in pain because as soon as moisture starts forming in there, those blisters are on fire. And I had to call the doctor for me. The nurse is like, yeah, I'll talk to him later. 7 o'clock that night came. This was before the night of every hour interruption. That was Sunday night still. And the nurse left without calling the doctor about it. And the nurse that was the night nurse called him, and they gave me a prescription straight fungal powder to help alleviate. And it really worked really good. It alleviated the pain. It helped keep me dry.